Excellent. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Okay. There we go. Just tuning that a little bit. Awesome. Okay. So that is all set. Let's go ahead. Look at my volume levels here. Yeah. All right. This should certainly be something. Let me go ahead and take my away sign off. Let's go ahead and have a look. Yep, we're at about 139 players for this one. It's only wrote 140, but that's okay. Okay, awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So now we wait. Hey Don, how you doing? Let me go ahead. There's one last thing I do need to check, and it's the size of video storage. Yeah, I think I'll have enough room for what I want to do today, but just in case, let me go ahead and try to Alt F4 a few things here. Yeah. I gotta spend another day or two doing some mass scheduling, but not for the sake of scheduling, but for just cross-referencing what videos I don't need to have on storage anymore for thumbnail making, if I even feel like it. Adamek, it's... I guess it is technically, but let me reword it real quick, because I don't want anyone to get confused. Running OFCRAs. Here, I think that is a better description. Because it's not OFCRA officially hosting it, I think it's just using their TeamSpeak. I think it's using a different server. Which, you know, I should know because it's, I had to use a server IP to get in here, but I don't even keep track of IPs, to be perfectly honest. So it's using a lot of the same people from OFCRA and FNF, because you'll notice a lot of interesting names are in here, such as Scandi Recon is in full force. I don't know where they are specifically, though. But I was told by Yanni that they were in a squad somewhere, but pretty large scale here. Yeah, the event doesn't show up on the official website, so it's not technically an OFCRA event, but after rereading the mission command, I realized that the wording seems a little different than what it should be. So that's on me, so that's why I just quickly changed it up. So, yeah, mix of... What's VOG? No, a WOG, Weekly Operated Games, right? But I could be wrong there. But this is going to essentially just be a massive takeover of various things here. Yeah, it's a special PvP event. That's what I would say. But that's what I put, you know, 140 plus player combined operations one life event here. With a massive Russian convoy coming in. You've got a US group over here coming out as well. This is a withdrawing US platoon trying to get to friendly positions over here. You got 65 v 70 players on the board here, so that is 135 players on right now. This is all going to be one life, and I assume they're holding these individual positions out here. Now, here's what's going to be really interesting about this mission specifically. Unlike the three communities I just mentioned, FNF, WOG, and OFCRA, this one is going to put a massive emphasis on vehicle combat. So both sides are going to have aircraft, both sides are going to have APCs, IFVs, and even some tanks. And we'll showcase that in a second. But Ilbanek, who's the brainchild behind this, basically wanted this to be something different. And this is a test run of that something different. So, really big turnout today. We'll have to see how it all balances out. I really want to see what Blue 4 and Op 4 have for heavy AT and AA capabilities, but you might just see some vehicle with an autocannon just murder an entire squad tonight. And I'll admit, from a player's perspective, that kind of sucks, but from a viewership perspective, it's gonna look badass. And that's what I really like about doing PvP commentary, because as a Zeus, when I'm normally hosting events like these, not necessarily PvP, but you have to really put a focus on the player base's enjoyment. So one of the reasons I really like doing PvP match commentary is I can throw that out the window and just watch. I don't make these missions either. I just go, hey, what do I think is going to look cool as someone that's been doing this since like 2016? And I'm going to be honest with you, this is going to probably be very cool tonight. So we'll see how it goes. I hope the server can handle it. If not, who knows? But it's not OFCRA server. This is a different one. So we'll have to see how things go with it. But in terms of what we'll have later today for streaming, right after this, I'm going to go right into a Vietnam event that's already going to be halfway through. I just got to jump in there. So I'll probably keep the stream on. We'll go to a brief intermission. And then after that, we're probably going to go right into some DayZ just to take a quick break. And then I'm going to be doing the evening with Mission Dev. I recently got Bloodwing into Core Keeper, which is this really nice Terraria times Stardew Valley with a bit of exploration in Minecraft, so to speak. So a fusion of that, but also with a very high learning curve, which has been really fun to mess with her in that sense. But I'm trying to think what else. Not sure if I'll stream that, but that's just something that might happen tonight. And then it's just going to be a lot of mission dev as well. The new 40k unit, 5th OML, which I was calling 50th ML as a joke. Also to make the joke of the 50th Mommy Legion. But it's, the Sisters of Battle, 5th Order of the Martyred Lady. I'm working on a new campaign for them. I'm trying to have a dialogue with all their players to see, hey, over the past few weeks when we've been doing trial ops, Bloodwings up, all this stuff, what have you liked and disliked? So we had a big talk about grenade use of the enemy AI. Someone was making an argument for Lamb's RPG, and I shot that one down a little bit. But, some people are talking about some role-play and ops. Some people are talking about intel and ops, and it's been a really nice dialogue in there. But I'm trying to make something, that the group will really like, because it's really hard to balance ops in general, and then 40k where everything's designed to kill everything else, it's also, harder on top of that. So we'll see how things go. Why is the SOG DLC so big? Because they have 3 maps, Striking Eagle. They have a massive amount of custom assets. They have their own music that's not copyrighted because it's all original. And, it's a full-on expansion pack for multiple factions, a bunch of custom stuff. And then it's maps on top of it, which are also really big. So that's the reason it's like, 20 gigs? Somewhere around there? I mean, Global Mobilization's 20 gigs as well, but that only has 1 map. But that's like a 20v20, so... I think the SOG ones are 15 by 15, but I could be wrong. Yeah, it's 30 gigs. Yeah, no, I can tell you right now, it's that way because of the 3 maps. The maps themselves are going to be taking up half that space, and all the assets, 4 maps. That's a very big chunk of it. You could probably go into the individual EBO files and sort them by size and base that off of what's numbered where. But anyway, if no, thanks for the 15-month resub. I hope you keep enjoying the operations, and I hope you get a nice kick out of this scenario. Let's see. There is also something that I'm going to be working on this week that
Goat Team 6
is really cool, but I don't think I can tell you guys yet. And then I want to find some time this week to get back into the Fallout stuff. I want to beat the Fallout campaign. I want to wrap that up. And then I want to do a randomized playthrough of Fallout, probably starting more towards the end of this month. Take a quick break from that. Work on some other stuff. Maybe try to finally get into VTOL VR. But there's also some other stuff I got to catch up on. And then we also have to do a shrimp fried rice stream in the shrimp outfit. So I'll let you guys know when that's coming. And I think sometime next weekend I'm going to have a town hall meeting in my Discord talking about content, where I want to go with the channels, and blah, blah, blah. Evil Potato, thank you for the tier 1 sub. I hope you keep enjoying the operations, and I hope you get a nice kick out of this scenario. Based on the fact I saw Nemesis's name on Blue 4, Scan Your Recon appears to be on Blue 4. But I guess while we're waiting, let's go ahead and do our name right off here. And we'll talk about who's on what team, because I know a lot of you have fan favorites. So, let's see. Kilo. People from the ZUAW clan, which I can't seem to pronounce half the names, so I'm just going to say that. They're all on Op 4. Mountain on Blue 4. Art, Crook, Ivancho, Karzur, Madbug, Zempolt, and Ziki, as well as Matoni and Kavazar are going to be all on Op 4. Aja, Beast, Ilbanek, Joda, Mafu, Massacre, Sixor, TK Llama, and Blue Coolis are going to be on Blue 4. Lacarino, Lurft, Repture, Rose, Sheriff, Volba, Solomon, and Abby are going to be on Op 4. Adriwi and Albany, and no, Alvin are going to be on Blue 4. Alvin and Amberus are going to be on Op 4. Angostad, Aries are going to be on Blue 4. Bay Potato, Black Dog, and that just completely threw my thing off. Bay Potato, Black Dog, and Calcukti are going to be on Op 4. Kerrigan White, Cats, Kazul, and Alipoos are going to be on Blue 4. Cheeseburger on Op 4. Combs on Blue 4. Anderson, Smith, and Azuki on Op 4, Newton on Blue 4, Crazy, Hunavar, Damix, and Danny Sweet on Op 4, David AF on Blue 4, Depso, Dima, and Dimesis are on Op 4, Flying Finn and Foosh are going to be on Blue 4, Gogo, Gogu, and Good Time Saddam on Op 4. All right, we're like halfway through. Iander, Ivan, Ivno, Johnny Finn, Yanaver, and Jabalas are going to be on Blue 4. Kale and Cameron on Op 4. Kiwi RP and Kyle on Blue 4. Gup and Holton on Op 4. Don't worry about that guy. He's a bit of a jerk. Lowus is going to be on Blue 4. Bert's going to be on Op 4. Lullis, Major Khan, and Marcus are going to be on Blue 4. Marshall and Marty on Op 4. Mickey and Mike Hale are going to be on Blue. Mike Hale, good God. Mine are going to be on Op 4. Monica and Nafs on Blue 4. NASA is also going to be spectating. He's not co-commentating with me today. We had a quick talk about that. He just wants to see how this mission goes, just to make sure things are working properly, as well as maybe he'll take some of that and, implement it in OFCRA. One can only hope. Otherwise, Nari on Op 4, Nemesis, Nick. I don't say his full name because it sounds like another word, and my lawyer has told me that it's probably not a good idea to keep saying his name. And Olaf are on Blue 4, Andrej on Op 4, PC Principal, and Police Scan on Blue 4. Pro Hunter, Smith, Firefly, Freeman, Goldman, Kyle, Schneider, and Senti are on Op 4. Sicko, Philippe, RJ, Sanchez, Sam, and Seal William are on Blue 4. Saban and Settler on Op 4. Europa and Rufels on Blue 4. Wayne on Op 4. Heartseer, Blast, Coco, Nicholas, Rodrigue, Raposo, Robert Weedgood, Renly, and Toxic on Blue 4. I don't know how to say. I'm just going to say IBC because that's the group you're a part of. Oz is on Op 4. Stefan on Blue 4. Supmek, Adamek, Twig Kane, Tymek, and Vexen are on Op 4. War Crime Master, that's a good name, is on Blue 4. Wenduni on Op 4, and Zint and Zeron are on Blue 4. So far, we have 136 players officially on the server with 2 spectator slots. And I think 1 or 2 are still trying to come in. So it's about 140 players right now. Almost dead even in terms of number count. So, yeah, these are your numbers tracking on the left side there. So we'll have to see how things go. And righto, Evil Potato, I hope you keep enjoying them. Right now, I'm trying to make sure there's at least 2 or 3 videos uploaded on the main channel a day, including but not limited to a highlight, another highlight or a compilation from a random game, and then a full-on Zeus video. Server crash 100%. Killing me, Smalls. We should have done that, but at the same time, I don't want to rain on Ilbanek's parade because, this is his first event. I hope it goes well. I want it to go well. We'll see how things go. But yeah, if it crashes, then everything else gets restarted, and it's like, that'll be a pain. Oh yeah, Strike, and I'm gonna be late joining that after this event, so we'll see how things go. But yeah, a lot of people on these events, and I'm gonna be honest, I really do like seeing large-scale PvP in Arma 3. I gotta check out weekly operated games. Maybe Coalition again. I'd love to keep doing PvP commentary where I can, because it's quite fun. Otherwise, hope you're all doing A-okay. We've been in the brief for 10 minutes. So that is quite a bit here, so we'll just have to see how things go. But yeah, that's why I'm thinking. That's why I was hinting at earlier, though. This isn't using OFCRA's server, and therefore it's not using OFCRA's script package. So I don't know how this is going to perform. We'll just have to see. You know, PvP was a Friday. Cage. So FNF is on Friday. OFCRA is on Thursday. This is a special event. I don't know if this is going to become a weekly thing. I don't think it is personally, but you know, if there's a PvP event out there that catches my eye, I do try to cover it. And again, the reason this one's going to be really cool is we're going to be having a lot of APCs, IFEs, tanks, and helicopters in the field. I don't think there's going to be any planes, but in FNF and OFCRA, they usually take out the HE and their really powerful levels of ordnance from the vehicles. This mission, they're not. This mission, they're keeping everything loaded to bear. So if a Bradley spots an infantry squad, that Bradley's going to completely murder that infantry squad on the Russian side with HE shells, all right? And that's what we're here to see. I hope we get to see something like that. There's going to be a lot of action going on, but we'll see how things go. What is the natural limit for players on an ARMA server? That is entirely subjective to how powerful your server is and what your server can handle. I want to say the sky is the limit, but in all reality, you're a slave to your server's limitations.
Let's go. 15 months later, still being awesome. Keep it up.
Telru, I'm glad you think that. Thanks so much for the 15-month resub. I hope you keep enjoying the operations. I do hope you get a nice kick out of this scenario. You've been looking at the hot Discord. You mean House of Trash's Discord? Oh. Well, okay, so quick segue. That and Bo's gaming server in the DayZ sections, I generally avoid because anytime I put something in there, people say they're going to hunt me down in the servers and do a big mix of things, from some being borderline inappropriate to some making me think that they have mental issues, so I don't really go on those places, you know? Ravelti, I don't think I hope I'm pronouncing that. It's probably not now. It's Ravetti. That's it, I think. I probably still butchered it. I wouldn't think 1,000 players would be doable. I would say the maximum I have ever heard of in an Arma 3 server are some Russian servers that have like 200 to 300 players. And that's just Russian black magic coding. You know, when you also go about things like modded stalker communities and all that stuff, that's just Russian black magic. You can't really beat that. Now, if they had I'm not going to get political, never mind. But that's also the wild, wild west in terms of I can't stream those events because they don't have anything against stream sniping in communities like that. So it would just become a stream sniping fight, which granted would be really fun to watch, how communities try to counter each other in stream sniping ways. But in every other place I stream, there are harsh anti-stream sniping rules. So, yeah, no. Am I AFK? No. I'm not. We're just waiting for this to finish up, and they're still doing their brief. Something came up right here. Guess they are still briefing in that, so we'll, yeah, I just hit to continue just to make sure I wasn't stuck on the map screen. That would have been funny if I was, but no, they're still on the brief waiting for things to play through, so... Let me just quickly look. Yeah, they haven't been moved to... they're still in the briefing sections. So Blue 4 and Op 4 are briefing right now in terms of their command elements. So we'll just have to see how things go. Do I prefer TFAR or Acre? Simply put, I think TFAR is great for your PvE community. Acre, however, has some really cool PvP features like the Babel system, where you can set one community to not be able to hear what another community says locally. It screws up the audio. You can still tell that people are talking nearby you, but you can't make heads or tails of what they're saying. See, but everyone has their own opinion, because Ivno's saying Acre only for PvE, and I personally disagree with that, because a lot of PvE communities are much more casual than PvP communities, and Acre is a lot less complicated than TFAR. Acre, it has a lot of advanced features that, you know, are a bit of a pain in the ass to utilize, but you can still make it work. But, again, that's just my opinion. But Arma 3 is a sandbox game. As long as you can make it work, you're doing it right, in my opinion. As long as your player base enjoys what you're doing it right, in my opinion. So, that's just how things go. Katarina, you'd be surprised what I've heard. Like, that's some of the messy stuff. And I probably will just keep on the vanilla interface, to be perfectly honest, because I do like the feature down here if you get to see everything. You have the 2-hour event down there. It's a 120-minute timer. Sim is disabled to let everyone load in on the server, but it looks like someone just shot their gun anyway. But let's go ahead and look over at our Blue 4 and Opfer group. So it looks like Blue 4 command is going to be Ilbenek, because he's at the top at Alpha 1-1. Op 4 ground command is going to be Matoni. So, looking at the Russian forces here, it looks like leadership elements get rifle scopes. So ground command, he's got a magnifier. I forget, it's the P something something something. And then you got an SVD guy as the marksman. You got a command Gaz right there. I hope that simulation text goes away. General Russian squad here appears to have multiple guys with magnified optics, some GLs, some PKPs with magnified optics. Interesting. RPG gunner. And also the Grenadier has a single-shot piece of disposable AT. And there's apparently a problem with TFAR. Oh, that's brilliant. Well, they will get it sorted. I'm not seeing any rubber banding, though. Hopefully I didn't just jinx it, but that's a good sign. So they are correcting that. This gives me a little bit of extra time to work with looking at what's down here. But yeah, here we go. So right off the bat, you see these Gazes. I think the Gazes do have the AGSs, by the way. So they do have the grenade machine guns tied to them, which is really nice to see. And the text did go away. Cool. So we've got a T-72, a T-72, BMP-3, BMP-3, and then some triple R vehicles for mobile logistics. Over here, you've got 2 Mi-24s with 8... Oh, my God, yes! All right, so you got the side nose cannon, you've got 2 rocket pods, and you've got 4 sets of AGMs, and the other one is carbon copied in the same way. So 8 AGMs and 2 rocket pods. Oh, I love it. I freaking love it. So the Russian forces are heavily stacked. Let's go ahead and go look at Blue 4 here. Blue 4 appear to be all in various areas here. This is the withdrawing platoon. We appear to have ACOGs on their side. Some GLs. I'm seeing some CC68 scopes, which are just red dots. You got a Stinger guy over here. And he also has an ACOG. Interesting. So Blue 4 do have man pads. But it looks like these are all infantry just trickling in. So that is quite nice to see. And let's go ahead and look at the rest of Blue 4 here. Join TFAR manually, problem with server settings. Ah, okay. I've been having that issue on, there we go. So let's see if my script kicks in. If it doesn't, all right, there we go. At least I think it's kicking in. All right, so we got a Blue 4 sniper team. They've got an M107. And then the spotter has an ACOG, and I'd assume he doesn't have a suppressor there. All right, script is working because I can hear them locally. So that's kind of cool. We have a sniper team in play for Blue 4. We have 2 Abrams. No, an Abrams and a Bradley on the field. And the Bradley is mechanized here. We got a 240 gunner and a 249 gunner. So we have a mechanized infantry squad with a tank. We have another mechanized infantry squad. Is that the linebacker? Yeah, okay. So here's the deal. That is an AA Bradley. Technically called the linebacker. You can tell because it has the double set of missiles here. These are designed to shoot aircraft down. So this is an AA asset. But they're going to be treating it as a mechanized infantry squad unit. I don't know what that was about. We got a single hill up here. I believe this is Blue 4 Command. They have a drone, which we're going to not really be able to track too well. But ground command looks like he has an ACOG as well. Looking over at his infantry over here, we've got 50 cal Humvees and AGS Humvees. So the reason you're hearing people's voices like that is because they're manually joining TFAR and immediately speaking instead of letting the plugin go as is.
No sé si me escucháis vosotros, pero yo
Yeah, so you hear other people commenting about that.
Hay mucha gente hablando, eh.
Ilvanek's going to have a field day trying to figure out who that is.
Si me escucháis alguno, agacharos, por favor.
I'm going to mute myself until they can figure that shit out, because that is a little annoying. But you got Blue 4's triple R Vix back here. Oh, there's even a Tovik out in play. Okay. So otherwise you have 2 AGSs and 2 M2 vehicles. I'm not seeing a lot for Blue 4's AT capability, though. So Op 4 had the RPG. I'd imagine Blue 4 would have a SMA. But I'm the only form of explosive launcher I've been able to see is non-existent. So other people are mentioning they're able to hear other people as well, so they're trying to get that sorted. But otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and click on Iander, and he only has a standard AT4. So there are no reloadable AT launchers on Blue Force side. We only have AA launchers in the field here, and just single-shot AT4. So Blue 4 is going to have to rely on their heavier assets to get this done. So other than that, the Blue 4 assets are... Yeah, so now you're getting a pop-up by the admins trying to sort that. But all right, let's do a quick asset breakdown here while they're getting that sorted. So Op 4 have RPGs in the squad. Oh, wait, let me check one more thing real quick that I just thought of. Because this is another major variable, but it's just a contributing asset to everything else. So the 249s only have the CCO 68 scope, which is just a red dot. So I'm looking for a 240 gunner, which I'm not finding here, so I'm going to have to go and look over here instead, because I saw one over here. So the one 240 gunner I can find actually does have an ACOG. All right. All right. Okay, and then we do have an AT4 guy right over there, but... Oh, no, so they're finally starting to warm up. He has a CCO 68 scope, so they might have switched it out. So let me go ahead. Let me give a full breakdown of everything here right now, guys. I do not play Factorio Slushy. So Op 4 have the following assets and considerably... How do I put it? They have the following gear and assets that could give them an advantage in this fight. So, first and foremost, they have a fleet of gases that... Actually, wait. Nope, that is a lie. They only have a single gas with the PKM and the AGS. So they're going to be outgunned there. But, yeah, let's list off the assets, and I'll list off Blue 4s and give the verses here. But Op 4 have RPGs on their backs. They're reloadable. And I believe they might also have AT assistance, but I'm looking now just to check. I might not see any. Op 4 also have RSHGs. So those are single-shot disposable AT launchers that... no, actually, how would I say it? They're single-shot disposable launchers with a thermobaric warhead that are designed to basically kill a shit ton of infantry. So Blue 4 doesn't have a weapon like that. I don't think Op 4 have thermobaric grenades for their UGLs, for the Grenadiers and team leader roles, but it is important to note that looks like Op 4, they do have these, and they're in the vehicles themselves, so they can just take those and use them at their leisure, which makes me wonder if Blue 4 have Javelins in their Bradleys, because those do spawn in there by default, but I would imagine no. But regardless, Op 4 have scopes for their PKP gunners. Whereas Blue 4 do not, but it looks like they're being changed out. However, one of Blue 4's advantages is they all have ACOGs, whereas Op 4 have those PG whatever scopes that don't get as high of a magnification as Blue 4's scopes, though. Restart the mission real fast. Simple restart. Okay, so they're doing that again. But I can keep listing what each side had. So Op 4 had 2 BMP3s and 2 T-72s. Blue 4 only has 1 Abrams, 1 standard Bradley, and 1 AA Bradley. So the standard Bradley is just your simple tow missiles, autocannon, whereas the AA Bradley, the linebacker, has the quad FIM launcher meant to take out enemy aircraft. And the reason they have that is Op 4 has 2 Mi-24s, each with CAS and AT capability. They have the twin-side autocannon. And Blue 4 to counter also has a few infantry with Stingers. However, a Stinger is really easy to dodge. But the way these are going to be effective is they're going to have to fly within at least a kilometer or two because the camera that's going to be controlling these isn't going to be the best. I'd argue, though, the Chin 12.7 minigun is better for guiding these in than the side strap cannon. Otherwise, Op4 also has a very slight number advantage of just a few people, whereas Blue 4 does not, but even still. You see here, again, the scopes with the PKPs. This will also give me a second to go ahead and look over at Blue 4. Just to see the 249, which, again, spawns with the CCO 68 scope. And I'm looking for a 240 gunner here, which I guess isn't all the way up till the linebacker. And he's in the forest back here. I don't see him, which means they're in the vehicles themselves. Okay. So that's where they're pulling them out, essentially. We might see them change the inventory here, but... yeah, so Ivno's putting his gun away, immediately taking the 240 out. So there might be javelins in those Bradleys. And that would actually be really interesting to see, because those javelins could do a lot of damage. A lot of damage.
6.5.
236.
Punto 5.
Now we can hear them locally, because the one guy who was talking to Tivar with broken plugin is all set.
Ese contador es español.
Es correcto, vale.
You're good, Ilbanek, you're good. All right, so 65 to 70 again, which was about the number I was seeing.
Donde dice frequencies.
And yeah, they're putting an ACOG on the
luego tenemos
240.
otras, porque en este se puede robar radios.
But I cannot wait to see these Bradleys in action. But fighting BMP3s is going to be interesting. Now, I do also know that they did remove the thermal sights from all of the vehicles. That was confirmed in-game. Otherwise, Blue 4's additional advantages are, I believe they're playing defense here. They have to hold the two hills. And then there's a few positions out here that are additional hard points of interest. And there is what appears to be some sort of power plant that needs to be held as well as a bridge here. Actually, multiple bridges that Op4 needs to push past to get to these two hills to take control of them. So quite a lot going with here. Blue 4, another asset they have is the sniper team. But Op4 is going to have air superiority, so we'll just have to see how that plays out. Again, this is a one-life Op. No assets respawn. We'll just have to see how all this goes. Why use an E-Clan? That's just, I guess, dealer's choice there at that point with what assets they can take out of the vehicles. Another slight concern I have is the Abrams for Blue 4. I've seen an Abrams take RPG after RPG after RPG. Now, against Op4 tanks, I think it's going to be a bit more balanced, but I have seen these things absolutely tear infantry apart for the hell of just tearing things apart. So I'll be curious to see how balanced this asset is. We might just see a Russian tank snipe it immediately, but I've also seen in other PvP events such as OFCRA when they did the Fallujah stuff where they had an Abrams versus a T-72. The Abrams not only tore the T-72 apart, but then the Abrams started driving around in the middle of Fallujah as it took RPG after RPG, and the Abrams just then turned and blew people away without giving a single fuck. So we'll just have to see how all that goes. But like I said earlier, I'm really curious to see if they left the javelins in there. I'm seeing them pull AT4s out, so I had assumed they only have AT4, but we'll just have to see how all that goes. But I think things are fine for now. Again, the objective appears to be control of these two hills, and then a power plant, which I believe is the first phase. So Op4 is just going to pretty much come down, take the power plant, try to cross one of these bridges and get to the hills, and Blue 4 is going to be holding where they can and having a withdrawing infantry group come up on foot. This is going to create for an interesting power dynamic, though, because Op4 is going to probably be able to beat the infantry coming in. And then I guess these infantry are just going to serve as a sandwiching group to attack Op4's rear as they try to push across. So Op4 is always going to have to think about rear security. Blue 4 also has that sniper team they could put on a really nice area and pick off units at will. But another advantage Blue 4 has I forgot to mention is they have multiple Humvees with heavy assets on them. Op 4 only has a single Gaz with an AGS and a PKP on it. Now, the ammo count for both of those statics on that Gaz is like 10 or 11 boxes of ammo per. So it has a shit ton of ammo, whereas the Blue 4 Vics I think only have up to 4 or 5. But even then, having multiple vehicles with all of that equipment and the tow Humvee no less is going to be very, very useful because you can just stick that tow Humvee on a hill somewhere, crank your render distance up as high as it can go, and just snipe Vics as they try to cross. I mean, that Humvee could literally just come over here to the railway bridge, camp somewhere over here, and just hit anything with the tow missile that tries to cross. Infantry, armor, you name it. And then because they have rearm capability over here, they can just drive back, rearm their unit, and then, you know, redeploy and just constantly harass. Otherwise, mission has officially begun, and we will see how these units deploy. So far, I haven't seen any server desync, so I think this is going to work really well. But it looks like Blue 4 right off the bat, we're seeing them not take every vehicle they can. I stand corrected. They are going to take everything they can. Good call there, because those two AGSs and those two 50 cals can really help make some pretty nasty choke points. And Blue 4, it's going to be all about that choke point defense. So you've got some of the infantry groups that are going to be coming in. They're reconsolidating. But this means Op 4 is going to have to be really careful about flying around here, because otherwise they're going to be shot down very, very quickly. Otherwise, you got Op 4 flying in. They've got some people mounted on these Mi-24s, and they're going to try to get an early deployment with some of these guys. Looks like it's teams of 5. But I really want to see these helicopters in action. This is going to be a very messy PvP op, and that's exactly how you want to watch them. Because I'm going to be honest with you. For missions like FNF or OFCRA, sometimes it's really easy to tell who's going to probably stand out on top based off of what assets are given and how the AO looks. This is an AO leaning in Blue 4's favor in terms of defense, but there are a lot of ways Op 4 can still bypass the brunt of where Blue 4 could deploy, especially by using these far bridges, especially considering the fact that the BMPs are amphibious, especially considering the fact that Op 4 have aircraft that can circumvent and deploy units pretty much anywhere. And it's up to Blue 4 with their AA capabilities to stop that advantage. But there is a lot in this AO that Op 4 have in terms of assets, and Blue 4 have some, don't get me wrong, but is it enough to counter? And I think in an ideal situation with all these assets on paper, yes, Blue 4 has enough to counter everything Op 4 has. But we just have to see it be played effectively. But here's the thing. There are so many variables on the table. There's 134 people on the server right now that are playing. And there are a shit ton of assets. Look at this. They're doing an airdrop. It's air assault with paratroops. So we already have 6 Op 4 VDV members in the field to secure the railway bridge, and we have another helicopter that's going to potentially drop them as well, but it looks like it's going in for a landing. So already Op 4 is sending reconnaissance forces out there to get early on intel and secure areas so their convoys can come in, but there's so much down on this map that I cannot tell you which side is going to win. I can't even tell you which side is going to probably win. This could really go either way. So this is a 5-man air assault team that's just been deployed. And the helicopters are going to pull back. Now, both helicopters appear to have a pilot and gunner, which means they can use their AGMs and all the other equipment that comes with it. So I think this is going to work out really freaking well. To be perfectly honest. Server always wins. Yeah, you're not wrong about that, Slushy. Looks like no one's killed themselves on their descent, which is great. So we'll just see where everyone deploys. And then you've got this vehicle coming in. This is the AGS one, too. And the unit is on the AGS, because that is the better weapon to be on. So
Oh, that's... There were 2 missiles,
you got those guys already coming down. And meanwhile, Blue 4 are sending a convoy of their forces around with the Bradley and the tank over to the western bridge. And the other Bradley, I believe this is the linebacker, is going to be holding the far right flank. Yep. So they can have AA cover right here. You got the infantry running out on foot here, trying to bypass. I'd be really curious to see if OPFOR is going to try to send forces down to hunt the withdrawing platoon, and these guys are going to pretty much have to play Siri to get to friendly U.S. forces. If OPFOR is able to do that effectively, they can cut off and eliminate a good chunk of Blue Force manpower before the op even begins. And that'll really help them out in the final assaults that go for these hills, because this is a 2-hour fight on a map that's only like 10 by 10 kilometers. There's 8 by 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's 8 by 8. So I think this mission could be done as early as an hour if OPFOR effectively moves its forces out, but we'll just have to see how things go. Now, you've got the helicopters back here landing at a refuel point. So it looks like they're going to tap up for fuel, but this indicates to me that OPFOR is going to keep those Mi-24s in reserve until we see a much bigger need for their use, probably in the final stages, to take these Blue 4 hardpoints to actually win the mission. I think that's a good call. There's way too much AA on Blue 4 side with the linebacker and the multiple anti-air teams, especially the ones coming from the north, which means that Blue 4 could have coverage from any position at this point. So keeping those in reserve until they're absolutely needed, until OPFOR can have a solid position where they know it is safe airspace for those Mi-24s to come in, do their attack run, and then pull out and potentially rearm immediately, is a good call on OPFOR's side. But Blue 4 is doing a great job of just trying to send assets to each bridge to cover it openly. But the railroad bridge is the one that's going to be heavily contested in the beginning, because you already have OPFOR getting on their side of the bridge here. Blue 4 starting to move into that one too, but this is all really steep landmass over here. So it's going to be difficult for Blue 4 to then drive forces down and get boots on the ground with limited cover, and that AGS can easily shell that position. And it looks like they're already starting to do reconnaissance here to try to find any Blue 4 that might come down. So I think this will be our first point of engagement in the AO. However, we do see OPFOR also setting forces up to try to hunt the withdrawing U.S. platoon on this side. And you're starting to see a nice line formation come out right here. So I still think they're going to do hunting over here. But you see that the Blue 4 guys have also been ordered to somewhat stay put here with a little bit of pathing here and there. So I'm a little concerned about these guys. They're just chilling on this road in a line formation. My bad, it's technically a column. A line would be if they're shoulder to shoulder. This is a column instead.
320.4.
I think they're talking about radio nets right now. But yeah, I don't think this would be the smartest place to do that, you know, in an open road. Maybe they're thinking OPFOR can't maneuver as quickly to start covering those areas. But if OPFOR were to come up and see that group right now, they would be cut to smithereens. But otherwise, OPFOR, we see units pretty much all over the place right here. So it might show that the OPFOR commander, to give a quick notice, that would be Matoni, is really trying to divide his forces and space his groups out to try to complete multiple objectives at once here. And I'm not talking about objectives pertaining to this mission. I'm talking about personal objectives of he wants some of his forces to go out and take the U.S. forces that are withdrawing so he can limit the U.S. forces' manpower beforehand. But look at what Blue 4 is planning here. This is pretty crafty. Also, depending on which community you pull this in, it could be legal or illegal, but he is having these forces hunker down so that Blue 4 can send up Humvees to pick them up and pull them out. Now, the one issue I have with this is that these Humvees can only take 5 people at a time, and he is only sending up 5 Humvees. 4 Humvees. So that means he can only evac 20 people total. I think there's more than 20 people up here. You got 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 across 2, and then the other 2 groups. So there's about 30 people up here, and they're only going to have space for 20, which means they're going to be ferrying them back and forth to the eastern bridge to then pull them back. Meanwhile, you got the sniper team over here. They're trying to find a spot to rest on to cover the central and the eastern bridge as well. I'd argue the best place to put them would be outside of a town with a bridge next to it. So in all honesty, moving them to like Chernogorsk and having them cover one of these big hills to cover the entire town just to get reconnaissance information would be a better use for them. And then as OPFOR is deploying and running into contact, then have that Blue 4 sniper team engage and then pull out where needed. So right off the bat, there's a few issues I'm seeing with some of Blue 4's plan here, but look at this. Blue 4, what are you doing? Oh my god.
Kontakty przód. 145, 145, 145.
So Op 4 have spotted them. Blue 4 is still in this open field. Oh, this is going to be messy if the PKP gets up. I have no idea what's going on here. What communities are playing? It's communities from FNF, OFCRA, and WOG. Which one specifically? I don't know. So now they're trying to get into bushes here. Looks like Heartseer's trying to get his guys to move out to avoid the contacts. But yeah, I don't know why you would just be chilling in this open street right here. That was a really bad call. Blue 4, meanwhile, they're deploying out here to overwatch this bridge. Otherwise, these guys, they're moving out, and it looks like they were trying to do an arrowhead. Now they're switching to a column. And Op 4 is holding right now to try to advance with cover, but they're going to find that Blue 4 is pulled away, and if Blue 4 is quick enough, they might actually be able to get away from that Op 4 group. But that was a really silly call, but Blue 4 did the right thing of noticing they had no cover. They were going to fight a group that was going to be in cover, you know, with these village buildings, and they're immediately trying to run. Now, the question is, will Op 4 look to the right and spot them? Yep, they just did. So they're already on Whisper, which is why it's hard to hear them. And Op 4, they might pursue. Now, if they're smart, they'll coordinate with the other groups over here and try to sandwich this Blue 4 group in a lot of different areas. But looking over here, you've got the evacuation, the withdrawal of Blue 4 over here. You got these guys mounting into some of the Vics. So we might see one or two of the Vics pull back with the teams, and another group go up and try to pick up another element, and then go from there. So we'll just have to see how that keeps going. I think Op 4 should be sending a guy back to bring their vehicle up with them. You know, the truck? Because otherwise that's just going to be lost, and then quite possibly Blue 4 could find it later. It's unlikely, though, but is Blue 4 going to be pursued by this Op 4 group past this area? Unlikely, but there is, however, a BMP-3 over here. And it could potentially watch Blue 4 come in. Blue 4's got some rear security. They're trying to look to see if Op 4's following them. Huh. Yep, but Blue 4's going to keep moving. We're hearing some distant gunshots over here. Not sure what that was about. They're not in range of that Blue 4 squad. Meanwhile, I'm going to quickly have a look over here. You got Op 4 looking down this bridge. You have Blue 4. I think, yeah, they're watching these guys right now. Probably not going to engage for now. But you can see that little triangle and then the dot moving under there. All right, looking at some of the other assets. Blue 4 had the fuel Vic come down here potentially to tap off this Bradley. Bradley's going to be watching from the forest area. Not a bad spot to put it, just limit to their own sight lines. And then Op 4 is still chilling back here. So Blue 4 have pretty much every bridge locked down at this moment, which is great. Now they just have to reconsolidate their forces. The only real weak bridge is the eastern bridge. But I'd imagine that this bridge is going to be reinforced by the withdrawing platoons. They only have 2 guys covering it, but yeah, I mean, this is probably the toughest one to hold as well, but it's right next to the edge of the map, so tough call there. Meanwhile, Op 4 is still right on the heel of that Blue 4 group. At this point, I think the Blue 4 group is going to get sandwiched by this BMP and then engaged on their rear, and then you'll have this infantry group also fold in, these infantry fold in around, and that group is probably going to get wiped early on. However, that's going to buy time for the rest of the force to get evac'd, even though I only see one group getting evac'd right now. So I guess a bit of a miscommunication there. But you're also seeing some more Op 4 starting to sweep into this sector to try to funnel them down south.
It's already taken half an hour, to be honest.
All right, and then you have this Op 4 force coming in. So these were the air assault guys. They crossed the river, and now they're going to climb. They might try to sweep this location, which is a good call. Looking over here, it looks like when I click on units, it's not always locking to them, which is quite interesting. We got a guy with wounded legs here, so it might have been Blue 4 already engaged. Ant's falling behind, though, so he might end up getting shot in the back here as he tries to figure out where his squad went. Or he went AFK for a moment, and that's going to cost him his life, because Op 4 is within 100 meters of him.
Dobra, masz hajki? Załadowane są?
Oh, this should be good. I think Ant went AFK. Blue 4, meanwhile, they're on this ridge. They're doing some observations. Sneaky. Are you going to try to cable tie him? You shoot me, bro?
Podejdźcie do tych drzew, podejdźcie do tych drzew.
What? What? You know, I don't got anything. Huh. That happened. Chat, you tell me. I don't know what to say to that. Oh my god! Yes, I want to see the... Oh, please go in a line formation. Where's your gunner? Yeah, they're watching. It's not letting me see inside the gunner's cam. Ah, that sucks. It's QV and Rapture. Where's Rapture? There we go. Oh, he's tracking these guys. Look at that guy coming right across his view. Wait for him to go in the open. Wait for him to go in the open and then just sweep the shit out of him. Oh, there we go. All right, so right off the bat, Heartseer is dead. Alipoos is dead. Sicko is dead. Kiwi is dead. Robert Weedgood is dead. Roofs is still alive. Looks like that other guy is now dead. Ant is dead. They finally caught up with him and shot him enough. That was Dymus getting the kill. So this Blue 4 group down to 2 dudes, as a majority of them have been picked off. It's only Coco alive and Roof's alive. Ooh. I told you, they were going to probably run into that BMP and it was going to tear them the hell apart, and then Op 4 is just going to be sending units down to sweep the rest of them. That's what you're seeing now. Sheriff over here. He's trying to pick off who he can. But as they get eliminated, I was thinking maybe the other Blue 4 groups could move away, because now the Humvees over here are starting to finally dismount people, but I'm not sure if they're going to head back. We do have one Mi-24 still landed. I don't know where the other one has gone. But what an opening. So it's Coco taking fire. He just took another hit. Oh, yeah, no, exactly, Modadic. So Coco is dead. Roof's going to be the only one still alive. He's going to run off. But I do agree. I'm a little perplexed with Blue 4's plans so far. They did a great job of securing all of the bridges, but these guys are kind of being left to die. They only drove up and secured Scandi Recon, which, granted, is a good asset. But this is a vehicle versus vehicle fight when you have these types of assets on the field. So a single infantry squad, no matter how good, is not worth that. You want everyone you can at that point to basically soften it for the vehicles here. But it looks like the Mi-24 is still staying in defensive. Op4 still trying to sweep this Blue 4 area with their forces here. But I'm curious now. I want to see Rapture's kill count. Yeah, he's on 5 kills with that autocannon right now. And again, this is why I was excited today, because we get to see vehicles with their ordnance, and it's going to be messy. Oh, the RPG guys also have HE shells. That's cute. I guess technically it would be HE warheads. I'm trying to see where this guy's shooting. I think he's still shooting at Blue 4 bodies. Maybe he was shooting at Rufus as he was trying to get away. But that is a full squad of Blue 4 wipes, except for one guy in the beginning. So great opening strategy for Op4.
Валентин, открывай. Если они открыли по нам огонь, уничтожай их сразу.
We'll see if that helps him out.
Ну, я попробую запросить для приличия. В случае неминуемой смерти Лерта уничтожить зов.
So here's the deal. We're probably going to see it slow down a little bit. Op4 has also sent that force from the town over, as I predicted. They're probably going to sweep this forested area, and they might find more of the Blue 4 groups trying to get away. I really don't understand what these Humvees down here are doing. They grabbed one squad, and they pulled them back. They're also pulling out from the eastern bridge. So I don't get what the point of that was to secure one asset. I think that was... I feel like that's not a ground command decision thing. I feel like that was something decided by... Scandy to get assets to then pull themselves out because it's leaving the rest of these guys out to dry, if you know what I mean. So it's definitely a confusing call here because if Blue 4 didn't think about pulling these units out here with a 2-hour time limit, it just means Op4 is going to sweep and eliminate the withdrawing forces if they're not supported. And then just use that number advantage they'll gain to kill everything. Because look at this. So Op4's actually gained a dude. And Blue 4's down to 57. So that's been full squad killed. And now Op4 is going to just maintain a higher and higher number advantage, which is going to give them more guys to send as fodder to whichever bridge they decide to go on, which appears to be the railroad bridge. Now, I could see something happening where Op4 takes the railroad bridge, moves past, and on the western bridge, they reroute all of their northern forces to the western bridge here and use that as another crossing point after securing this side and then just bringing all their forces up. Now, Blue 4 could make a really nasty battle line here on this side with all this open terrain between their one Abrams and their tow Humvee, especially if they put that tow Humvee back here. Look at all of that overwatch they would have on that route. They could pretty much see everything except from the coast. And they can also see anything trying to ride the edge of the map right here from this one spot to put that tow. So Blue 4 could still easily counter with some good overwatch back here. They just have to adapt to that situation. So I could still see Blue 4, even though they're taking these heavy losses early on, bounce back. But it's all about who's ground command here? Will Ilbanek and TK Llama see that and reset up those positions? But it also is going to entirely depend on Op4's plan because we have Blue 4 setting up right here, but Op4 could also move their forces and take the other far bridge, trying to prod in from a different area here. So it's just going to be all about where Op4 initializes their attack and then where also Op4 sends out their forces over here. So we'll have to see how things go. So we'll see how that goes. But if you guys have any thoughts, feel free to ask. Because at this point, I think Op4 is going to continue to sweep around. It looks like they found roofs and took them out. I don't see him on the roster anymore. Yep, there he is. Oh, he was caught in an open area too. All right, I'm going to be honest with you guys. If you are the only guy left in your AO because everyone else got eliminated, you do not want to be in an open field. He should have just stuck to the forests and pulled over in this direction away from all the contact. And that is just from the idea of, okay, there's a BMP-3 over here and there's an infantry squad behind me, which I don't even know if they were able to figure out. But I digress. You want to stay where there's cover and concealment, especially if you're being hunted by something with an autocannon that can easily check open fields. So I think he just ran out here and got caught by some of these open areas. You also see that the BMP-3 has repositioned. Trying to select on Rapture to see if he got that kill. Because they're from different elements, so it's hard to, you know, look up and down the roster to see if they got him. He did not get it. He was still on 5, so it was just random infantry guy that sniped him off. I've noticed these Op 4 groups haven't really been making a lot of headway here either, so you got these Blue 4 groups are really close to that Op 4 element, might have another round of contact there. But we'll just have to see how things go. Meanwhile, over here, interestingly enough, you have the Gaz over here that's crossed. You have a single infantry guy. He does have an ACOG, though, so he could snipe the gunners out. You hear the vehicle driving to his left. So I think he's calling it out. And you know, Crusader, that is an interesting question to bring up because this is a multicultural event. You've got British people on, Americans, French, Polish, Czechs, a lot of people speaking a lot of different languages. So that is a pretty big issue of how does an English ground command potentially communicate with French squads? You'd imagine there's probably someone there that can speak both languages, but that does create a language barrier. And that is something that we never really talk about in events like OFCRA, where that is something that happens every week. But yeah, if your translator dies, you're SOL at that point. Like, communication completely breaks down because it's not a matter of, oh, someone can just pick up the long range and use it. Some people might just not speak the language. So that is something you touch on that is a very big issue sometimes, but you don't really see it because we rarely get to hear all the communication going on because we only can hear the communication from the people we're actively spectating. And even then, that's only been a thing that we've been allowed to do for the past month or so, ever since we got this technology from Ilbanek, who made the plugin for TFAR. Good observation.
So,
NATO Issues 101, yeah, right.
That's where our badger shots came from.
So now they're looking over here because they're reporting they had some shots. You see Aja's silhouette in the tree, just barely you could see parts of his leg, but it looks like Op4 did not spot that. So Lancarino is about to walk right into a Blue 4 squad here on his own. So we'll see if he's able to get the call out. He got the call out because he spotted them. Jabatis. Oh my god. And then he's looking in the tree. Holy fuck, did he get, is he gonna get away with it? No. Nick's gonna spot him. Lank, do not shoot your gun. You are dead if you shoot your gun. Holy shit. Oh my god. At least he got the call out, but why would you... Please tell me you didn't just blue on blue one of your dudes in confusion.
That's a vehicle.
Now the BMP's coming around. Now I'd imagine all of Op4 is going to come down here. Oh. I get it. In Lank's position, you don't know if you're going to be spotted or not, so you might as hell take the trade. So I wouldn't call him dumb for that. But that's in that position, you just have to basically go prone and pray. Because as you just saw, they can still walk right past you, even if you're in the open just prone, because that's just how situational awareness sometimes works here. But I don't fault him for making the decision to fire, because he's still able to get a trade. But he would have been a little more resourceful in that position if he just waited for them to go past, because then he could have coordinated better with his elements here. But the BMP has completely blown past. You got two Op4 guys in the area here. Blue 4, this group's now going to stay pinned because they took contact. What Lank should have done is he should have thrown grenades first. If you are going to make that engagement, you should throw a few grenades and then fire. Because those grenades are going to net you a few more kills, and it's going to confuse the hell out of that group. But now you see Op4, they're starting to hone their forces in here. BMP has now turned around. It is going to try to find an angle to hit these guys. So this group is probably going to get encircled and eliminated. Which is, again, why I'm really concerned why Blue 4 is leaving all these units out to dry, because that's just going to completely increase that number advantage, which, you know, we've gotten down to 69 now.
We can't stay here. We have to maneuver.
And then you got this 6-man VDV team coming around to find and eliminate those 4 Blue 4 guys to give Op4 a beachhead across the river and potentially an angle to funnel all their units in. Now, what I'm curious about... Oh, shit. So Blue 4 is taking fire from across the ridge here. and it's making them all pull away. But yeah, you see the shells landing right near Blue Force position here, so they're having to pull back. So I would say Op4 is in a much better position here. You've got Ivan with the AT4 out. He thought he saw a vehicle, which I think it might have been the fuel Vic or something from Op4. Now, here's the thing. If Blue 4 can take out Op4's triple R Vics early on and negate Op4's ability to resupply their vehicles, that's going to give Op4 a massive, massive issue to work with because everything in their arsenal becomes limited at that point for vehicles. And if there's infantry ammo in that vehicle ammo Vic as well, then Op4 stuck with what they have, in which case Blue 4 just has to fight a war of attrition. And from their position and corner camping, that can easily be done. Now, my concerning thing is we have the other Blue 4 group over here coming in. That can cut off some of the Op4 guys and make them confused on where that element is specifically, but it's just gonna, I guess, result in the same thing in inevitability, because if the fighting here gets bad enough, these Op4 groups are then going to push south and reinforce, and it's just going to further the encirclement. And again, if it keeps getting real, real bad, that could just push Op4 to call in their Mi-24s and start gutting. Granted, Blue 4 have stingers, but at that point, under constant fire by Op4, will they be able to get a stinger out, is the question. Now, I am treating this kind of like an OFCRA operation of just because one side is winning the early engagements doesn't mean they will win the fight, but based off of the command decisions I've been seeing so far, it is really looking like that. So now you're starting to see Op4 fire at the Blue 4 elements here. I agree with Katarina's point, too. If you're in a position like that, the best thing to do is just stay prone and see if they move past. Because here's the thing. If you get into a CQC situation like that and you are not immediately shot out, it means they don't see you. So if you go prone, it's very unlikely they're going to see you unless they walk right on top of you. But you saw people were within a few meters of him and they still didn't see him. So that's your best bet at that point. Because at that point, if you somehow just aren't spotted by a full squad, then you're good. Now, here's what I'm really concerned about. There's a BMP right here. Granted, Blue 4 does have an AT4. You already see Ivan whipping it out. That AT4 could disable that BMP. But if these guys are caught in the open by that BMP HE autocannon is going to tear these guys apart. Oh! 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 One survivor again! Yeah, some would call it caster cursing. Me, I just say this is what happens. He's the only one alive. History repeats. That autocannon gets another 5 kills, and that's another Blue 4 group, mostly wiped. You can't even say that's spacing, because look, this is where they're all spaced out. This is really good spacing. Unfortunately, they put themselves in a fatal funnel, because look at their spacing compared to the line of sight of that BMP. So they honestly made a fatal funnel for themselves at this perfect angle where the BMP just happened to be. And this isn't a spacing issue. This is just a luck of the draw issue. But here's the deal. Going back to my original point, why did Blue 4 use the Humvees to rescue a single squad and leave the other 3 squads to die? 2 of those 3 squads have died. One of them might be able to bypass because all of Op4's now moved over here. Why is this the case in the first place? There goes police. Yep. Why are these Blue 4 squads being left to dry? That is my ultimate question here, because now look at the number. 47 to 70. It doesn't make any sense to me, because as you saw, Blue 4 had the capability to pull these forces out. So if all of them in a plan just moved to the edge of the map and then rode the edge of the map down as vehicles such as transport trucks and Humvees drove up to rescue them, and if you were really cautious about it, you could put the linebacker in a position to watch against any to cover against any air threats such as the Mi-24s, you could have evac'd them all into a southern position to help with these defensive lines, but that didn't happen. So it's just a massive loss of manpower at this point. You got Massacre here playing a little bit of Siri here as a vehicle comes around and tries to check on him. But now you also have
Un poco a la izquierda.
the Bradley coming on its own. And you have Marshall here with AT. Oh, this should be good because the Bradleys...
Todo recto, llegamos a la marca que queremos.
I'm waiting to see that gunner just tear him apart unless the RPG actually... Where did that RPG go? What? That Bradley might actually be dead. Nope, he missed. Smoke's immediately popped. Bradley's pulling back. Keep using your autocannon. You have a rearm vehicle. Shoot them. Shoot them. You can literally just whiff out all your ammo and then pull back and rearm. Shoot them. Shoot, 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 shoot. So thankfully for them, that RPG overranged. Massacre, meanwhile, trying to take a few shots at these vehicles here. Schneider is trying to pull up over here as Black Dog loops around. He's not... Oh, he is dead. So Massacre was able to take the gunner out. Ha! Is Holton trying to run him over? No, he's distracting so Schneider can come in. Did he just run Schneider over? No, now he's trying to cover for Schneider. He got him with the knocked over tree! Oh my god! You killed him with the knocked over tree! Are you freaking... What is this? I've never seen that before! Wow. Wow. I'm at a loss for words. When the bullets don't work, I guess use a damn tree. Holy shit.
Pickup truck here, bitches. Get in.
Right, hello you two.
Hello there. Get in.
So,
What's your where do you need to go?
give me a moment. I need to disable the radio for a moment because everyone's
Alright.
screaming. Okay, so we're going to be moving to the position of one squad, or we were just ordered to go over here and don't know nothing.
Okay. Just tell us where we
So you
need
still have
to
that
go.
Blue Force squad sweeping
perfect.
through.
Everybody man
Looks like that one guy that was AFK has come back. He'll get there eventually. His internet will catch up. And again, why do we keep seeing Blue 4 guys taking pit stops in open roads next to villages? That's
Directly there, and exactly there.
that's the dumbest place you can be. You take these pit stops in the middle of forests where you have plenty of cover and concealment, not in open fields that could be being overwatched by BMPs and enemy squads. It's like Blue 4 wants to die. I get it. Yes, it's a stamina break, but you shouldn't be in here. For this danger crossing, you should be utilizing the forest. You should be doing your stamina break before you go through the danger crossing, and then you go. You don't take it in the middle of the danger crossing. You're right. They got to stop for coffee. You're right. Oh my god. You clipped the tree kill too. I gotta rewatch it. I need to see if that other guy was shooting him at the time and it just looks like the tree killed him. But I would laugh my ass off if the tree actually killed him. Stop applying logic to players. You're right, Slashy. What am I doing? Gosh, I'm a goober. Being smart in Arma 3, that's not allowed. Now, I do appreciate this Bradley's Overwatch position right here. They're trying to watch in the forest to see if they can spawn anything. So you got the camera operator up here. And then you got the gunner over here. They're not organized, so it was just a matter of which squad takes what. Is this the new Arma engine? No, Duratas. This is still Arma 3. Reforger's engine, you will not see 130 player PvP in Reforger probably for another year to 2 years. You can change the view distance with F1, F2, and F3 and to see who you killed or killed after mission by pressing
No
N.
tengo ni idea.
Cool thing to note, probably something that should have been talked about beforehand in the brief, but hey, now they know.
26, contact infantry front. 420 to 420.
So they just spotted Aja here. But here's the deal. I'm cutting Ilbenek some slack because this is the first time he's run one of these major events. And so far, everything's playing out really well for the assets because the only times I've been seeing people getting wiped is because of bad calls by either squad leaders or command staff. I haven't seen anything that's overly, I don't know the right word for it, basically overly messed up or imbalanced or anything. And trust me, I would call it out. For example, FNF really likes to balance BTRs against Humvees for some silly reason, but there's another time and place for that discussion. All right, so we hear the autocannon firing. That would be this Bradley firing up at Vexen. And Vexen's laughing at it. Look at this Chad with a PKP and an RSGH anti-infantry launcher. What a chucklehead. I love him, but Vexen is also one of the players that always gets multi-kills. So yeah, his previous position is getting hit, but you're seeing the smoke from HE shells being utilized. Alright, so these guys are now in the forest, crossing through. You got the MI-24s flying around. Op4 are setting up positions along to reconnaissance the western bridge area. And you're hearing this AGS system now bombarding Aja's position, who's hiding in a tree and praying to God that he doesn't get hit by anything. Oh! Oh my God! You're dead. Yeah, he's dead. Stop cursing people. I know. I know. Yeah. 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 Every time. Well, I thought he'd be okay, but guess not. Guess not, guys. Whew. So Blue 4 only has one guy in the field now. That's Joda. Everyone else has, they're just, I guess, going to reform their defensive line right here. Wait a second. Please tell me this is the tow Humvee. Fucking called it. Put the tow Humvee, as I said earlier, up here where it can overwatch everything in this choke point and also overwatch stuff across the river. Great place to put it. I applaud that position. Blue 4 knows that Op 4 is making a beachhead with the railway bridge. And they're going to try to set up a defensive line here. They're also bringing the tank to take a position here as well. That's another good call. But Blue 4 still has to maintain other positions here. So we've got a fortification line here at the Eastern Bridge. We've got a lot of forces at Central. And we still have a lot of forces at Western. I'm going to be really curious to see if they pull these forces out or not. Farmer. My day's okay. If you want to join an event like this, excuse me, I would say utilize the command !OFCRA. This isn't an official OFCRA op. However, they're using the OFCRA Discord. It was talked about in their Discord, and it was they're using the TeamSpeak for it right now. Join just puts you in my Discord. Oh, does it still put you in TSB's Discord? Okay, I need to fix that command then, but I digress. Things got to be shifted around, you know? So you still got Massacre's body right here. Op 4 is dismounted with full squad across.
The enemy medic
And you have a BMP-3 coming around. Joda, meanwhile, just took one guy out and then immediately got taken out himself by SBDBV. Nasty. And then you've got the BMP-3 coming. It doesn't have anyone with it, but that's the other BMP-3 in play. But so far, Op 4 at 68 players, Blue 4 at 43. Whew. Got an Op 4 squad down here. Blue 4 is still coming around with their remaining 4 guys. And more Op 4 have head south, but it looks like they're all starting to trail down south right now. We are 45 minutes into this round. Messy, messy, messy. Gregory, thanks for the 18-month resub. That gets you a new badge with goat horns. I hope you keep enjoying everything, my man. I hope you get a nice kick out of this PvP scenario. Posture check. I do agree, Katarina, we are seeing Blue 4 getting picked off here and there, but that's mainly due to their disorganization. I think when we start seeing these defensive lines pushed, we might see Blue 4 be able to turn it around. However, the BMPs with their HE autocannons, the Mi-24s with their side guns and their AGM ability, I think that's really going to turn around because Blue 4 only had AA capability from the withdrawing US platoons. So if Blue 4 did the smart thing and evac'd everyone, they'd have 3 or 4 Stinger launchers to work with that they could then put in various spots in this defensive block to completely nullify Op4's ability to use Mi-24s in the field. That's not the case now. They only have the linebacker, which is over here. Again, that is a Bradley with a quad-mounted AA launcher. So that one asset to cover this entire AO might not be enough. It's still a threat to the Mi-24s, don't get me wrong, but let's say this. 2 Mi-24s flying in formation to bait out the linebacker. Linebacker fires once, takes out an Mi-24. The other Mi-24 can then lock on with the AGMs, kill it, and then they'll still have one Mi-24 to pretty much annihilate this AO, because at that point, Op4 doesn't have any real AA capability. They still have a AAA asset with the other Bradley that could shoot the 24 down, but that can easily be hunted. You're right, I'm sorry. I say it's a quad because of the look. Because it has the 2 set of, it has the double box launchers there, but I think they can only use 2 at a time. But I call it the quad because the dual is a distinguishing feature of a regular one where it has the 2 there. OFCRA, it's a French term, and I speak French, but I can't tell you because I don't remember my French. All right, look at this. So you got the 4-man team over here, right next to a town filled with Op4. Yeah, one Op4 guy bandaging right here, probably because he hurt himself because he jumped off the building. We could see these forces completely brush by each other, but look, he's right on that,
You are where? Sorry.
Oops. Did these guys notice? Or did they just misfire? I love how he picked up a Blue 4 gun with the ACOG, though. So Op4 just gave themselves away, so Blue 4 might choose not to engage and pull back from a different angle. Op4 dismounting right here might sweep that forest. What? Are you mooning them? What? What are they doing? Op4 logic. Did he just double take? He just double took it! Are you kidding me? You can't just moon your squad and then all of a sudden, like, snapshot. Oh my god. What in the freaking bullshit? Now, granted, in his defense, it's really easy to spot this camo in this fucking forest. The color scheme is atrocious for it. I can't believe... How did that just happen? That's funny. So these guys are screwed because this Op4 group's going to hit them from behind. So even if they try to pull away, unless they pull at a perfect western pull-off, these guys are going to hit them from the north. So they're trying to pull back into cover. The other BMP is completely pulled south. We might see the Mi-24s come close, but... Oh, Blast is shot in the back of the head. He is only knocked out, though. That is some great suppression. I just realized my tracers weren't working, but they're back, so... Oh, and here's the Op4 group coming back. And there they are, cut down. You only got 2 guys unconscious back here. The other 2 were taken out, as I said. They're going to run right into that Op4 group, get encircled, and completely taken out. See if any of these blue 4 guys wake up. Doesn't look like it. You got Blast in Europa, the guy that was carrying the other guy. We'll see some double taps here. He got stuck on the bodies, which is an indicator that they're still alive. They just need to be double tapped because they still have physics. Now it's 68 to 41. Momentarily 39 when these 2 guys get killed off. Europa wakes back up. Does he tap the Waduni? No, he does not. He turns around and is immediately shot in the face by Dima. Down to 40. I guess in this Uniforce, the Russian army's competent, even though we just saw one guy mooning the other dudes, but now we're seeing some red on red here by Ambrose. And he's taking return fire. There's the other blue 4 guy double tapped. All right, that's at 68. Let's see if that drops down anymore. And we got Cal chilling in the back right here. Either because he's AFK or he's the guy that's then going to drive the truck up. So let's see if Op 4 realizes they're red on red here. What does mooning mean? It means you turn around and you show your bare ass at people in a jokingly fashion. That's what mooning is. Because it looks like, you know, a full moon. I just heard an AA launch of some sort. That might have been this asset. Is it firing at an MI-24? It is! That is one MI-24 down. Usually it explodes. I have a power.
Let's give him a warm welcome.
Well, they're reporting that they damaged the Bradley. I don't see any damage on her, so it might have hit a tree because they were hunting for it. But now there's only one MI-24 in play, and you still have the linebacker, at least in a way to kick things. We're still at 68 people, which means both pilots survived. Looks like these guys were able to get through the red on red without killing each other, which is great.
Our team, whole team is over there.
Yep, so now they're calling it out with each other.
Don't shoot. I'll contact you.
Am I predicting the future? Am I casting it? You know, that's a really good question. Blue 4, they've completely pulled from the western bridge. They're starting to make their defensive lines here. So this is the line they're going for. And you still have that sniper team holding here. I think the sniper team could have been much better utilized deep in enemy territory, overwatching either Electro or Cherno and just waiting for like the perfect opportunity to start hitting people in the rear. But when you have vehicles and aircraft in play, a sniper team isn't going to be that effective. It's going to be more of a direct reconnaissance tool. And we also had Blue 4 spotted with the darter. So they could have just landed the darter somewhere high and used its camera without wasting its 30-minute battery life. And they could have used that to watch a bridge as well, you know? Friendlies in Cherno? Don, which script is that? Otherwise, you got the MI-24 landed right here. It looks like it's going to try to pick people up, and they're going to move those people via air into various positions. Otherwise, you got Matoni back here. He is the ground commander, just chilling in the truck back here without his pants on. Okay. It's kind of like how I like to Zeus. I usually don't do it with pants. Just a green robe. But either way, opt for... I guess they're going to push in through Electro. And I guess take the Central Electric Power Plant area first. Blue 4 set up everything across the river here. This is going to be a pretty nasty autocannon fight at this rate, though. So I'd imagine Op 4 might lose a lot of manpower as they try to push forces in to take the power plant, but we'll have to see how things go. Thank you, Zen, for dropping by. I do appreciate the linebacker crew laughing about all this, but... And now I guess we wait.
¿No ves que poco más y me da un infarto por culpa de que alguien estaba cerca del micro?
All right. So I'm just trying to watch where the Op 4 force is coming down. We got the other BMP3 covering this area as they move down to the bridge. At this point, what this group needs to do is they have two choices. They can either go deep in the forested area and have to cross through this danger zone right here, or they can push along the coast and potentially have something overwatch them from the other side. And get right down to the bridge, make sure it's secured, and then ride the coast and use it as defilade cover to then move into where they need to go, thus bypassing any defensive lines that Blue 4 could potentially make deeper inland, which would be the better choice because you can also have stuff on the other side support you with autocannons if needed. So we'll see what they decide to do. I think they're just going to do something silly and probably go off on their own and potentially get shredded by a Blue 4 defensive line because I've been seeing a lot of that today. But 39 to 68... 39 times 2 would be 78, so it's not a 50-50 split. Also, Zicky just crashed out. He was an Op 4 guy. We'll see if he's able to be brought back in, but... Oh, boy. Op 4 is maneuvering everything they can down south. It looks like they're going to basically be taking these areas. You've got Op 4 otherwise...
Я не могу идти.
Securing some fuel barrels here. For all I know, it could be a washing machine. Liru becomes a god emperor. Nah, too much work. Farm. Shoot me a DM. I can point you to a few. Both communities and places to look for communities. Because anyone that's asked that question would be biased to the ones they work in. But, you know, it depends on what you're looking for. I never mind helping someone out. Yeah, Crusader, at this point, Op 4 has the numbers to basically use some groups as bait, and then when those, when the armored vehicles shoot, then the Op 4's tanks and BMPs can just hit the vehicle positions with either Mi-24, AGMs, or their own assets. So, there's a lot of options Op 4 has here, but they just have to break through in one area, and then they can go rush and take the hills. Ah, Raiders from Savon's group. Yeah, just shoot me a DM on Discord. I'll work with you. Where are the T-72s? You know, that is a great question because they have been pretty quiet. They've been on Overwatch for most of this scenario. Not in full-on exposed Overwatch positions, but enough to basically just be ready to be put on an Overwatch angle should they need to be deployed. So this is the other pilot crew. Looks like they're trying to regroup with the vehicle, which it looks like they'll regroup with ground commands, truck. And you got another truck over here that's been deployed.
1-1, this is 2-4. We have arrived with 2-5 at our position.
Where's my CO?
It's always the ICBM.
So now we wait. You know, I agree with OFCRA's take on objectives where in a 90-minute round... some stuff is cashed in at the 30-minute mark, then 60-minute mark, and 90-minute mark. Because if you don't tier objectives like that, what you end up doing is having an hour-and-a-half or 2-hour-long mission where you're doing nothing but chilling in an area for that amount of time without being maneuvered to do something, which can be quite boring in my opinion. I think that's going to be a major complaint a lot of people have, is that they just sat in a position as the defenders until they died or got murdered or, you know, autocannoned. Granted, I don't think Blue 4 is playing this round to the best of their ability, but it could go either way. And again, this is not an OFCRA op. This is an op using OFCRA's TeamSpeak. But it has communities from OFCRA, FNF, and weekly operative games, or operating games. I forget how their acronym works. Fun fact, you can't say WOG because apparently it's British slang for something and Twitch dings you for it. Why? Don't know. Otherwise, you have a really solid defensive line here covering the central bridge. I'm a little worried about the eastern bridge, but where Op 4 is deploying, I don't think the eastern bridge is going to necessarily matter. But you have pretty much everything coming out here. You do have a group all the way over here, though. Interestingly enough, though, they're just messing with their smoke grenades. This was one of the groups that hunted down the Blue 4 guys that were withdrawing from the north. So they're completely out of position. They could have landed back here fine because Op 40 has a line up, so you could have just kept the Mi-24 low and deployed them right here with no AA threat. So I guess that was a little bit of a misplay there from Op 4 because now that squad's going to have at least 10 to 15 minutes of maneuvering before they can be useful. But at the rate everything's going, I guess it doesn't really matter too much. So Op 4, they've put forces in the power plant, probably completed whatever objective they needed to complete over in that position. And now we're hearing something shooting. That could be Blue 4's Abrams. No, is that the linebacker? Or is that the BMP-3? Hold on. So we have a BMP-3 up here. It sounds like it's a T-72 then. Alright, based on the angle, they are firing at... stuff in this town. Makes sense. They're getting shelled. This is where the Abrams is, though. Abrams took a hit. And we just heard a tow launch. I need to put my render distance up at this point. So the Abrams has taken damage. They do have their repair vehicle right here. Also, these might be repair vehicles. There might not be ammo vehicles. So that was a misspeak on my end because I thought they had additional ammo, but ammo might just be completely limited in the first place. But I digress. T-72 hasn't taken any damage. I thought I heard a launch sound. Linebackers adjusting. So the armor assets are basically firing at each other right now. Abrams has a repair Vic right there. Could repair. Fog is really heavy, though. So some squaring off of vehicle assets. And we do have a vehicle coming around unsupported. This is a full squad. And I'm willing to bet they're about to be torn up by this squad of Scander Recon players.
To transport.
My question is, they only have a 50 cal, but the 50 cal would also work. Yeah, so Blue 4 is going to literally send a squad around this, or excuse me, Op 4 sending a squad around the side. I guess they got a call out from the sniper team. No, they came around from this side here, so they wouldn't have got that, but these guys are just going to... So what's the point of having a group there if they can't engage? Is there anything? I just took a drink, but... So they got the roads marked right here. I guess they're going to intercept them when they drive back? I don't get what the point of this position is when you can achieve it with the sniper team if you're not going to engage, but I guess they're going to turn the vehicle around and Op 4 is just going to drive and get ambushed right here. And it's silly for Op 4 to think that they can get away with that when you're still dealing with a good chunk of Blue 4 players, anywhere down to 36 versus 67, so some sniping's been going around. So this Blue 4 squad's probably going to get wiped. Oh, here's the AG. Oh, yeah, they're dead. Op 4's dead. Because a mix of that 50 cal and AGS are just going to tear apart the Op 4 element. And Op 4 is silly for thinking they could get away with this. Oh my god, so now they're going to go straight south. There he goes, he's dead. Where's that AGS? Where is that AGS? They were technically for Blue 4 be a Mark 19. The grenade machine gun, where is it? There it is. Oh my god. Yeah. Yeah. Smartest thing you could have done there, sir. Yeah. So the linebacker fire AA. Nope, that was a tank firing then. Looking back on the action here, BMP3's pulled back. It's escorting a ground Vic. Yeah, so Op4 is really silly for thinking they could get away with that, first and foremost. You just heard the truck secondary explosion go off on the far right. If you're gonna... recon the damn route first. I can't believe that played out the way it did. I guess that's how Blue 4 is gonna win, is they just ambush people that are dumb enough to keep driving down the MSR, but... Alright, we have another... So, okay. Tow Humvee, or the tow, the tow Humvee or Bradley's tow took that out. The Vic exploded, so it was the tow Humvee, because you see the armor notch, and they're looking right at the flame right there, so the tow Humvee got that. Like I said, the tow Humvee's best position, saying it again, was right here. Because they have to hold this choke point, because Op4 crossed, but then they can also look across and engage anything on the hills. Best position it could be on. And that is why. So it's quite possible Op4 is overconfident now because they've pushed down to this angle, and Blue 4 could now just snipe everything that comes up. Do I hope it doesn't play out that way, because that's really unfortunate for Op4 to get that overconfident? Yes. I think that's a really bad way for it to play out, but we're seeing it happen now. Op4's lost one of their tanks. They just lost one of their squads that tried to Hail Mary it across the complete opposite area for some silly reason. I can only assume their goal, based off of going south right here, was to then rush and try to take the hills. To just sneak the objective, which... I'm going to be honest, if they just drove immediately south from right here and rode the border, they might have actually gotten away with it. So the plan was solid. Not doing any reconnaissance on that bridge, though, was a dumb idea, because Op4 know they're winning. They've gotten boots on the ground over here, so the remaining Blue 4 guys would be holding right here. So to assume they weren't covering one of the two remaining bridges that they were forced to cover is silly. A dumb idea. Bad idea. Don't do that. But I do see the logic in Op4 of, hey, if they can get something through, you could potentially backcap the sectors because they're not being guarded, because Blue 4's remaining manpower might be stretched too thin. So there is some logic there, just wasn't good enough. Now, Op4 down to 61, Blue 4 still at 36, but there's a near 2-to-1 advantage right now from Blue 4 to Op4. It's going to really rely on who is utilizing their assets better at this point. Now, tank took damage. I think it would be repaired by now because it's right next to their repair vehicle. You've got the Bradley pulling back here. It's got some infantry on the rear. So they're going to find a new position. Tow Humvee can overwatch. It's still going to have 3 tow missiles remaining if it hasn't fired anymore. Shut up, Slushy. I can dream that logic is being utilized, okay? Dymus, though... hasn't been getting those kills on Scandy Recon that he has too, but he did try to shoot at one of them earlier and wasn't able to score that kill. By the way, we still have 50 minutes in this round, so it's gonna be a long con, man. I think Dymus is dead here. He's able to get a 3rd kill though. Yanni calling he has eyes on. Is he going to poke his head out and shoot him?
Another one. There's more. He's got a squad radio.
Yanni saw Dymus here, and then he saw him back here. He's like, oh my god, there's more than one. I love you, Yanni. You silly, silly man. Dymus is unconscious. Doubt he's going to wake up. Yanni's going to come up and double tap his butt.
It's hard to see in the bush. Got one over here.
There goes Dymus.
Double tap one. What? Yeah, one double tapped.
Yeah, also I agree that Dymus shouldn't have circled around and engaged the group that wiped his squad. He should have tried to either pull back. I mean, he had a long-range radio too, so he could have just gone into a scouting role and tried to find these positions for other elements to eliminate. He shouldn't have lone wolfed and tried to kill that. But no matter what, he would have been in a lone wolf position anyway because he's in a completely different spot of the map with no hope of getting rescue. So I think just being a one-man reconnaissance role would have been his best bet at that point, but he wanted to go for kills. That's the fun thing about this, is they always go for kills. All right, so I didn't know, but Blue 4 also has a another man-pad position here. The double-seat Stinger, baby. With a programmable computer and a telescope. So this nullifies the need for the group up here, but still would have been nice to have so they could have more plugs in their gaps, but even still. This is going to be a manpower fight of... No. It's going to be an asset fight, but manpower is going to be important to draw out where the armor is so it can be countered by other elements. Hydrator, dive straight. I'm running out of water. All right. And now we wait. So Op 4, they're getting guys right on top of the central bridge. They are under fire, though. That's the sniper team engaging them. That's a bit of an issue for Op 4, though, because is that not their repair truck right there? Or is that a regular transport truck? Yeah. Why is their repair truck... What? Why is the Op 4 repair truck on the front line? Right in front of a... What? Why is your asset used to repair your vehicle? I give up. Okay. 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 This is the vanilla PvP spectator interface. It's not Ace's. I wanted to give it a try. Because there's some stuff it offers, which is nice compared to Ace and vice versa. But stop using logic. Not allowed. God, slushy. I know. I know. All right, meanwhile over here, this is the armed AGS/PKM Gaz. That is going to be great against this tow vehicle, but Blue 4 have an AGS Vic right here. So I guess one of these guys reported that they saw a contact, even though that was false. And they just gave away their position. And now Mountain's trying to solo crew a Humvee AGS, excuse me, Mark 19. They're both the same thing. In the sense that they're both grenade machine guns, but... The logic is starting to fall apart here for me. Is Op 4 going to do a river crossing? Oh my god. All right. Yes. With everything going on, the one thing you want to do right now is cross the damn river. Meanwhile, this Blue 4 position is getting bombarded. You've got War Crime Master dead, unable to commit any war crimes. Marcus knocked unconscious. This is the BMP-3 with its primary cannon firing at him. I just heard AT fire, but it completely missed. And now you got the linebacker's autocannon firing at the BMP. But they're firing at infantry. That is an AG... that was a AGM tank round. They just fired another one. That linebacker's toast. Is it? Okay, so Ares in there is dead, Mike is dead, and Sanchez is dead. But the Bradley is okay. Alright, so linebacker's crew is completely wiped. I cannot believe Op4 is doing a river crossing with the potential threat of HE Vix, but thankfully their BMP is on Overwatch. He's probably a King of the Hill pro. Yeah, that's why Mountain is soloing that. Not gonna lie, Mountain would pull something like that. No offense to him, but knowing Mountain, not surprised. So we have the AA asset looking over here. It's tracking the Mi-24, which is staying on station back here. So he's now trying to track that asset. I will say, Blue 4 has done a great job today with their AA sphere of knocking down the Mi-24s and countering them when they get reports on them. That is one thing that Blue 4 has done a very, very good job with. However, Op4 has been a lot better with their ground asset use. Oh, yes, tow Humvee it. Drive up to it and hit it with a tow. I want to see if that works out. It's a really silly thing to do, but at this point, might as well go for it. Yeah, you should be pulling security on your left at this point, dude. Not forward. Definitely more of a left deal. Yeah, if only there were... Actually, there is a mod that adds sharks that will kill you, but I don't think you're going to find that in PvP, unfortunately. Yeah, so these guys are all completely pulling away. They're going to keep bypassing. That's going to make them drive north, possibly into this enemy force here. We have a truck that's come over. It actually... What the hell? Why are 2 people dead in the river over here? Did they drown? Why did you... When did this happen? Okay. Alright, never mind. There are sharks on this server, and they've killed 2 Op4 guys. Cool. Awesome. Great. I don't get it. I really don't get it. And then we have an unconscious dude right here. Did he fall down the rock? No, they slid down here and actually died to the drop. That's... Alright, we're just seeing incompetence at almost every level here. I love it. So these guys are hunting the tow launcher. Tow launcher's hunting them, though. So they've turned around and they're trying to hunt it CQC style. Meanwhile, there's a tank now coming up and firing around their area. This is the BMP firing again. And I can't tell where it is firing. It looks like it's firing all the way on this hill. Yep. At the infantry had spotted over here. They've pulled back since. I just heard something cook off over here. That would be the AGS. Yep. I'd imagine it was the tank that killed it. Yes. Yes, it was. This is why you don't go gun-ho in enemy territory, because you don't know what you're going to drive into. It's very risky. But, ay. So Holton is actually still alive. He's playing dead. I just heard a tow launcher fire. That was, oh, that was the static AA chair. And it just got a second hit on that 24. Now the question is, can they repair it? It looks like they might be able to. But now they got to get their repair Vic from all the way over here because it was on the front line for some silly reason. Nope, it's since moved. I have no idea where. Why do I have an Alpha? They're swimming it too. Okay. So wherever the repair Vic went, in order to get that Mi-24 repair, they got to pull it all the way around over here. Otherwise, ground command's picked up these guys. He's driving along the rear, so I'm gonna imagine that Mi-24 is out of play for the rest of the scenario, because that's a really awkward place to get that repair Vic over. And we have something smoking over here. Did the Abrams get sniped? No, the Humvee next to it did, though. Okay. So the Abrams was using spaced armor in the form of another vehicle to stop whatever the hell... I don't know. I'm not gonna argue it. We have Op 4 swimming across the river. That's a BMP autocannon firing. At what? I do not know. I'm looking for his gunner. Rapture's on 16 kills. Did you just kill the sniper team? I'd laugh my ass off if he did.
El BTR.
100 metros, 100 metros.
El BTR está entrando, el BTR está entrando.
I was going to do a Vietnam op after this, but I'm going to be honest, it still might be going. At this rate, I'm going to be like 90 minutes late, so we'll jump in, get in the tail end of that, and then we'll play some DayZ, and then we'll do some mission dev and see how things go. See, BMP3, why don't the infantry just use the... Now the sniper team's trying to kill the people going across the river. I would laugh my ass off if Ross got shot. I think he realized he's under fire, though. He just ducked. I know, Ricky, that's because Blue 4 has been making some even dumber decisions, to be perfectly honest. Op 4 has been smart where they have needed to, but look at this. It's nearly a 2-to-1 advantage on players right now, 58-31. Okay, Holton is unconscious. Schneider is still alive. Olaf, I think, is checking his body. You just had Mountains Humvee drive through Op 4's line. I don't know. I mean, we do have this Vic right here. All these people are dead, though. So that linebacker's out of action. You've got the Bradley and an Abrams versus 1 T-72 and 2 BMP-3s. That is essentially what this boils down to. And then a lot of infantry on Op 4 compared to Blue 4.
Henderson has a medium crush.
I still can't believe these chuckleheads are all the way back here because they tried to play chicken with a mountain and the mountain won. You have the sniper team. You have a downed Mi-24. All those assets are pretty much out of commission. Newton just... Yeah, being in an open hilltop with your binos out does wonders for you, doesn't it?
I'm gonna take refuge here.
They're taking GL fire. They just reported they're taking a stamina break, though, so now you've got the tank here covering them with the NSV turret, which does have its own scope. And then you've got the BMP also covering. They're just shooting at more infantry in the open. Toxic's trying to pull back. All while Schneider's running for it. Again, I am seeing way too many people running in open fields and just expecting to be okay. When gamers do the Russian army better than the Russians, yeah. Yeah. I didn't want to touch that topic. Oh, the Abrams did a tactical spin. Looks like it's okay. Look at these massive Op 4 infantry groups we have coming up, though. More units crossing the river. BMP-3 covering the northern side. A lot of Blue 4 is going to be out of position in a second. I'm wondering if Schneider's going to try to get some pickoffs here. He could, if he's patient. That's Olaf over there. He just needs him to stop moving. Now we got Lolo, though. What the hell is Lolo doing?
Next to the village, I see a Humvee. I'm gonna go for it. Yeah.
That's a weird camera angle.
Are you in the Humvee?
He's gonna run to Schneider.
There is enemies here. He has found an enemy.
Shoot him in the face!
I killed him.
Yeah, Lolo's like, there's an enemy. I killed him. Ah, fucking Lolo, man. Alright, so now you got the Abrams firing with its gun. Either the coax or the other 50 cal on it. They're engaging the infantry right here. You got people looting Newton's body, trying to find washing machines on it or something.
Dead American here has a radio. Are we allowed to take it?
Asking about radio comms and if they can take things or not. This tow should not be here. It needs to be pulled back on the rear because it's a tow launcher. It doesn't have anything against infantry. And you're about to have infantry walk right on top. Oh, God, with an RPG. Mr. Abrams is really defensive about his tow baby, though. And you got the tank and BMP-3 coming around, I guess, to flank the Abrams. So now we're going to see how good an Abrams is at holding off, like, 20 to 30 enemy infantry. This should be good. And you still have the tow over here, completely unaware that this is going on. Now, I think the Abram has HE shells. Don't RPG my son, exactly. I think Op 4 under fire. No, they might have spotted that Humvee, so now they might get AT over on it. That'd be really funny, though, if this infantry squad comes by and gets a flank on that Abrams. Oh, wow, you have 3 dead, Blue 4 up here. Oh, my God. It is 56 to 29. So some Op 4 have been getting picked off. I think it was at 58 last time I checked. I cannot believe that this tow Humvee is still here, completely oblivious to the fact they're right next to a Russian squad. GLs are getting launched. I don't think what a... how do I word it? I don't think a GL is going to be that effective against an Abrams, but you know what? You play your heart out, buddy. Tanks come around right here. You got the BMP-3 coming around. They're checking this open area. You got TK Llama, who I believe is Ground Command 2IC. Humvee is finally realizing it might be in a little bit of trouble here as they hear the Vic. Now, this thing could cut through the forest and potentially hit these enemy armor Vics in the ass. Oh, okay, so that's a stolen vehicle. That's why it's blue. I'm like, what's going on there? That is an anti-building launcher that with a thermobaric warhead. That's going to tickle it. Oh, hey, look. Well, he hit behind him. Now, here's the deal. I'm not going to bully him for that because he basically didn't go into the site. He went onto the top-down part, which is completely lined off improperly. So he just made the classic mistake of not realizing what that AT launcher was properly sighted on and fired it. Now, here's the funny thing. Op 4 can take this tow Humvee now and use it to snipe the Abrams. But even then, even if you hit it with a Humvee, or hit a Humvee with that round, it's not going to do anything. Because again, it is a thermobaric warhead. It's meant to be fired into buildings and suck out all the oxygen and burn everyone's lungs. That was a great pickoff on that Humvee for, you know, being silly. Well, it looks like the BMP-3 found it and decided that, you know what? No one gets it now. BMP-3 padding its kill count. These guys are breaching. Oh man, the Russians have door-phasing technology.
Yeah, the Abrams is on the other side of the building.
Who would have thought? AT-4 just fired into infantry. And killed a guy. Sounds fun. Burn my lungs, please. You can get the same effect with smoking over long periods of time. Fun fact. So yeah, you're seeing some Op 4 guys getting killed by that Abrams. I want to see the Abrams just drive up and start overpressuring people. That'd be funny. You got a T-72 over here just driving around, trying to find an angle on the Abrams. And now you have Twig King trying to shoot at TK Llama. He says he got a hit on him as TK Llama pulls back. Scandy, I guess, is going to mount up and come from the rear, but it's 54 to 23. At this point, there is an official 2-to-1 numbers advantage right now. Also, Op4 have stolen the linebacker and are crewing it and are getting kills with it. Oh my god. What is this? AT coming in. The Abrams still not realizing that it is in trouble. Lolo just got killed. Seal just got on the gun. The Abrams has moved. I guess it has a fuel tank rupture or an engine rupture or something. The triple R Vics are getting destroyed. Seal just got sniped out of the Vic. And now it's up to 6-or. Oh, he is gonna overpressure people. Yes! Overpressure PvP, let's go. That's weird, because there's a refuel Vic right there. And there was a repair Vic right there. So I don't know, I guess they didn't have repair perms or something? Who knows? AT hits the Abrams. It does nothing. All right, engine's out, and 6-or is still alive. His gun is now completely disabled, and he decides to get out and is immediately shot to shit. Well, and there goes the Abrams. I'm gonna be honest. Okay. No, I'm wrapping up everything in my head right now. Oh my gosh, they're actually trying to get the repair vehicle over to the Mi-24. It's gonna have a massive hill to climb, but they might be able to do it. So yeah, all of Blue Force pulling back to the northern hill. I think they're gonna concede the southern hill because Op4 is pushing up to it. I guess I zoomed in on someone real quick and we heard him cough like that, but I'm gonna be honest. Here's what Blue 4 did really well. Their AA net was superb in this mission. Despite losing half of their AA assets, they were able to use the linebacker and a static AA piece to knock out both Mi-24s. And that really did nullify one of Op4's main advantages, to the point we didn't really see the Mi-24s used effectively at all. Oh my god, so these guys were coming up and they got auto cannon. That's another 3 kills. Was that the linebacker getting those? Because it looks like the Bradley's moving. Oh, man. Doesn't look like it was these guys. Might have been the BM. Yeah, he's on 20 kills. So the record I have ever seen in PvP Arma 3 is 21 kills on the roster. But it was confirmed to be 24 kills, give or take. That was Audrey Hotto in FNF, but granted, he was an infantryman only. He wasn't in a vehicle. Second biggest record is now this, with 20. Third biggest was, I think, T5 Bay, or Bayant, whatever you want to call him these days. But that was during FNF World War II, where he used an autocannon, a AAA Vic, and he just shredded infantry with it. Oh, so they're using the linebacker AA to bombard this place with missiles. That's cute. Because Blue 4 doesn't have any AA. But this is a smart call here, because this forces Blue 4 to hunker down. Now, he doesn't have any guidance on it. He's just lining them up and firing the missiles, which is cool. But Blue 4 had a really good AA network done. Blue 4, with their tow Humvee, had a really great position to put it on. I would say Blue 4, with some of its other vehicles, where they put them on Overwatch to maximize their coverage, was also a really good position to do. Op4, where did they go right? Op4 did a great job of taking out and eliminating a lot of the Blue 4 groups that were withdrawing from up here to nullify not only Blue 4's manpower, but Blue 4's AA capability. Did that stop their AA capability overall? Absolutely not. It actually had no effect on it, but it was still a great job to nullify a good 15 to 20 players as the mission begun. Op4 also did a really great job of getting across here and stopping Blue 4 from locking down all these choke points, which they could have if they moved the manpower quickly, which they didn't. And Op 4 has also done a really good job of using both infantry and vehicles in tandem and having really good tactics at the squad level to surround and eliminate Blue 4, and in most of the PvP fights, win those fights. The only time I've seen Blue 4 outright win a fight was Scandi Recon ambushing that one truck. Now, points where both sides really screwed up in my opinion. Blue 4. Not withdrawing all these guys was their first major mistake. They withdrew one squad and then left the other 3 to hang out and dry, and they all died. They had a plan to withdraw one squad. One squad went down right here, got evac'd by Humvees in Solnichny, and then pulled away. Why weren't the other 3 Blue 4 squads ordered to come to Solnichny and then move down the southern side, and then the Humvees from the eastern bridge and maybe another transport truck or 2 go up and ferry them and then move back? And then you could have had those infantry diverted to cover these 2 areas as other infantry were diverted to cover these areas. I don't know why they did that. They just left those squads out to dry, and it would have completely screwed them over. So that's, I think, Blue 4's first major mistake. Their second major mistake was having some of their vehicles in positions that quickly became in, like, a spearhead. So, for example, the linebacker right here got completely picked off. They could have had it all the way up here on this hill. Oh my god, now you're having the BMP-3. It's come on the rear of this Blue 4 element, and it's just going to start sniping people with that autocannon HE shell. AT fired, but the BMP pulled away, and it missed, and now it's returning fire, and those guys are dead. Yeah, so Scandi Recon, we love them in FNF, but when they fight HE autocannons, they can't even win. So Blue 4 could have had a vehicle up here with an autocannon and done perfect overwatch in these areas. So some of Blue 4's positioning with their vehicles wasn't the best. And then some of the Blue 4 tactics overall, where they were pulling elements and squads around, just wasn't a good call at all. Now let's see, we just had the BMP-3 get hit by something. That might have been Ilbanek sacrificed himself to take it out, because there's nothing else up here that would have caused that. But hey, at least they were able to take out one of those autocannon Vics. But at this point, it's too late. Sector's being captured by the remaining Op 4 guys because there's no Blue 4 guys still alive. It's 14-46 right now. It's just a mess, really. And then Blue 4 having infantry on ridges here. I don't know what the hell's firing up here, to be perfectly honest. That might be red on red at this point. Oh my god. Oh! The gun is stuck. That was funny. That Bradley's disabled, and its gun is fixed in one spot, but they rammed the BMP. All right, I'll take it. So Rapture with 22 kills still does not officially beat Adriato's record of 24. I want to point that out, too. Adriato still maintains the PvP record for most kills. Oh, that's funny. Oh, I gotta write that timestamp down for a highlight, too. That was pretty good. But I think Blue 4's tactics overall is what really cost them the game. You got Art pushing up. He just killed, well, Zeke got knocked unconscious. Grenade thrown up here. Gotta be careful about throwing grenades uphill because they can roll back down. Zeke wakes back up. Someone just grenaded themselves. Actually, no, these are Blue 4 throwing grenades back. My bad. But this is the beginning of the end. Op 4, I guess the only 2 working vehicles now is the Bradley, which is damaged. Op 4 also has Blue 4's linebacker. So that's still an autocannon Vic, and you see it coming up here. It is a Blue 4 Vic, though, and it had Blue 4 people die in it, which is why it's still registering as a Blue 4 Vic. And now it's just these infantry dying over here. These guys are going to take that hill and then push over to there. But, you know, 20 minutes remaining for a 2-hour mark. I think the timing of this was done perfectly. AT just fired in. Oh, my God. They just somehow... Jesus. Is that enough AT? You literally, like... Oh, my God. More AT just went in on it. Blue 4 suffered heavy losses and lost. Is it over? Heavy loose and lost. Heavy loose. I agree. More. And some of those were HE rounds too. I noticed by big explosions. Now, I think that's being put that way because Ilbanek is the ground command. Oh. As I was saying, I think they called it because Blue 4 ground command was Ilbanek. And, yeah, I guess he just cut it. I think they should have played it out till the end, in my honest opinion. It's weird. So, here, I'm going to be honest. This is me giving some honest feedback for the scenario here. And here's the deal. After this, we're going to take an intermission. And as I do this, I am going to try to switch over to join a Vietnam event. So give me 1 second. I just also want to... I completely underestimate how hot this new computer runs with the 3080 Ti in it. But I have another fan that blows in cold air to regulate everything, but as I set all this up, I'm going to give you guys some 2 cents here. I think for the first event ever for something being run like that, I think that was great. I think there are certainly some bugs with it, but I think there needs to be some changes. Because here's the deal. When you include HE autocannons, it greatly changes the balance of the game. You need to give the infantry at a squad level the ability to counter vehicle use. Because if you don't, the infantry usually just become fodder. And we saw a lot of that happen. Now, granted, that was also because Blue 4 made some really silly decisions, like leaving half of their squad out to dry. But the fact that Blue 4 didn't have any Mazes, for example, I thought that was a really interesting choice because it basically meant a lot of Blue 4 was unable to engage some of the heavier assets that would have really tipped the scale. I think the AA balance was great. But I think in the future, if we were to see another event like that, we need to see either reloadable Mazes at the squad level, especially if Op4 is going to get RPGs with both HE and AT shells. We need to see a balance of both sides having reloadable AT. And then on top of that, there should be weapon squads where Op4 should get like a Metis. You know the vanilla infantry metis that you can carry? I think comparing that to Blue 4 getting a Javelin. So they have that AT capability to really dick down enemy Vics. Because I think you can have a PvP balance with heavier assets, but you have to give the infantry the ability to engage those assets. So maybe like, you know, one weapon team per side that have those heavier assets, the Metises versus the Javelins. And if you don't want to give Blue 4 Javelins because Javelins can literally engage anything, give them a Metis as well, you know? Verse it like that. I would say you do need long-range AT, though, because the autocannon Vix can engage you from range, so Blue 4 should have an ability to counter that. And I'm not saying give that to every squad, I'm saying give that to a team of people that can do something like that. Anyway, guys, we're doing an intermission to another event right now. I'm going to be on the ground in a Vietnam op, and then we're going to play some DayZ. Again, this is all going to be one part of a stream. Before I end the first recording, I'm trying to give these 2 cents here. And Discord, of course, is fighting me on accessing Discord because I forgot to grab the mod set. Where is it? There she is. Okay. So I think there should have been a lot more AT on both sides. But I'm going to be honest, like, I agree that the infantry experience looked terrible from their perspective. There were some really cool spots where there were some great firefights, though, and it was clear who was going to win based off of who was just utilizing better tactics. But you got to give infantry the ability to counter autocannon assets. It's possible. It's just difficult. And then, yeah, an N-Law could also be useful, but the N-Law has a very limited range of engaging. An N-Law does not compare to a Metis launcher, for example. But that is simply how it all balances out. I'm trying to make sure I have this mod set properly conducted. Looks like it is. Cool. I'm going to now get out of that TeamSpeak, and I need to now put on the regular T4 TeamSpeak plugin so I can hear people properly, and then I can get back on TeamSpeak. But I think that was the first major issue. The second major issue was a Bradley versus a BMP3. Some people would argue they would want exact balance, so maybe doing like a Russian versus CDF force where they both have BMP2s and T72s would be open. But you saw it, for example, with the linebacker. The linebacker had, what, like, you saw it take 3 AGM rounds and all the crew died, but the linebacker was not only still fine, but it was able to then be remounted by Op4 and used in the field. And that's something you got to be careful with a lot of RHS assets, is because they're really tanky. And that's why I was a little worried about the Abrams being used, because I've seen the Abrams tank a lot of punishment in the past. So I would want to see, for a second op, I'd love to see like a Russian versus CDF, where the armor is comparable, the infantry weaponry is comparable. Because another big thing I had was, and this was on the infantry side, so it was less of an issue, was Op4 didn't have the same magnified optic capability as Blue 4 did. So I think there's some balancing issues that could be turned around. But I think for the really, really messy ones, especially the air stuff, was covered well. But I think there still needs to be a focus on the infantry gameplay, and that focus needs to be, you know, giving them AT. Giving them an ability to have AT to counter everything. I think that was the only major issue, because everything else in that round that played out was a fault of command. A fault of just leaving forces out to dry and die to not only HE autocannons, as we saw the US withdrawing platoon on Blue 4, but also just get encircled and picked off. So that's my 2 cents. I'm going to get with Ilbanet because I would love to cast another event like that. But that was just the mess of itself, you know? So running the new TeamSpeak plugin. Awesome. Yes, replace. Cool. So we will be on a new server in a few minutes. Let's